Exodus 36, 8 through 38. Devotional focus verse. And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet. With cherubims of cunning work made he them. Exodus 36, 8. As I marked the boards before cutting them to the correct length, I heard my dad say, "Make sure you cut them all on the same side of the line." I remember saying something like, "Details, details. Does it really matter which side of the line I cut on?" As a young boy helping his father, I had no comprehension of how important a few millimeters can be to a quality project. A few years later, I heard similar words from a new employer while I worked my way through college as a carpenter's helper. Although my employer chuckled as he told me, "Be sure you cut on the same side of the line," I noticed him watching over my shoulder. I had a sense that my continued employment might be at stake, so I made sure I followed his instructions. My employer was concerned about my attention to detail for several reasons. Certain details in our construction project could impact the integrity of the completed structure. Others might affect the building's appearance. Either way, failure to take appropriate care could have grave ramifications. Attention to the structural specifics would prevent collapse and possible injury to those in the building. Attention to cosmetic details would enhance the reputation of the builder and the marketability of the finished product. In today's text, the Lord gave precise instructions regarding the construction of the tabernacle. He intended for the children of Israel to follow his directions scrupulously, not overlooking any of the details or deeming any point unimportant. God gives the same type of specific attention to us. He has a blueprint for our lives and wants us to follow it carefully. Through the Holy Spirit, His Word, and His messengers, He often points out details to which we should pay attention. It's not that God is looking over our shoulders for no reason. He wants to ensure the integrity of our spiritual buildings. His only motivation is to make our lives strong, complete, and appealing reflections of His wonderful love. And with that goal in view, details matter. May God help us to value His attention to the details of our lives and to respond in simple obedience. Background information. This portion of Exodus 36 is a description of the obedience of the Israelites to the detailed instructions God had previously given Moses regarding the construction of the tabernacle. See Exodus 25:10 through 27:19. The repetition of detail makes clear the importance God placed upon careful adherence to His directions. The first step in the construction of God's house was its framing. Verses 8 through 13 detail the size, color, type of fabric, and method of hanging the embroidered curtains, which, when placed together, would form the walls of the tabernacle. The words "made 10 curtains" point to numerous hours of labor. A staggering amount of spinning and weaving had to take place to create the amount of fabric needed. The phrase "cherubims of cunning work" likely refers to figures that were woven into the fabric. Verses 14 through 19 describe the 3 layers which made up the outer covering of the tabernacle. These layers consisted of panels of goat's skins, and over that, the covering of ram's skins, and then of the badger's skins. The boards and silver sockets described in verses 20 through 34 are indicators of the strength and stability of the finished structure. The boards were joined together by the bars which passed through them. Verses 35 through 38 deal with the hangings which were used for partitions, the veils, and doors, the curtains, between the sections of the tabernacle. The partitions divided the holy place from the most holy place, also known as the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was placed. An extensive amount of work was needed to produce the various parts of the tabernacle. Clearly, the structure never could have been built without tremendous community involvement. Conclusion. Let's purpose to pay careful attention to the details of our Christian lives, to make sure they implicitly follow God's plan.
And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue, and purple, and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work made he them. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits, the curtains were all of one size. And he coupled the 5 curtains one unto another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one unto another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of one curtain from the selvage in the coupling, likewise he made in the uttermost side of another curtain, in the coupling of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain which was in the coupling of the second, the loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 taches of gold, and coupled the curtains one unto another with the taches, so it became one tabernacle. And he made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle, 11 curtains he made them. The length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of one curtain, the 11 curtains were of one size. And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of the curtain in the coupling, and 50 loops made he upon the edge of the curtain which coupleth the second. And he made 50 taches of brass to couple the tent together, that it might be one. And he made a covering for the tent of ram's skins dyed red, and a covering of badger's skins above that. And he made boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing up. The length of a board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of a board 1 cubit and a half. One board had 2 tenons, equally distant one from another, thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side southward. And 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which is toward the north corner, he made 20 boards. And there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward he made 6 boards. And 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle in the 2 sides. And they were coupled beneath, and coupled together at the head thereof, to one ring, thus he did to both of them in both the corners. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle. And 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And he made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from the one end to the other. And he overlaid the boards with gold, and made their rings of gold to be places for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, with cherubims made he it of cunning work. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold, their hooks were of gold, and he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. And he made an hanging for the tabernacle door of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, of needlework. And the 5 pillars of it with their hooks, and he overlaid their chapiters and their fillets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass.